Hello and welcome to August 2021. As you can see, it's a bit overcast, it's a little bit chilly, and there's a lot of dew on the ground, like an autumn dew. It's been a strange year. I wanted to say thank you to all of you who watch my videos, to those who have subscribed, to those who give it a thumbs up like, to anyone who shares it with like-minded people. It means so much to me that other people are enjoying what we're trying to do here. We've had quite a good harvest. We realised we didn't really make the teepee tall enough, so next year it'll be taller. We haven't had to water hardly at all this year, which has been nice in some ways, and lots of the plants have enjoyed lots and lots of rain. Not the tomatoes, which are a little bit small. We do have some, they are cherry tomatoes. We do have some on outside plants, but whether they'll ripen before they get mildew, I don't know. The plants along here have really grown this year. This is one of my favourites. I adore the colour, and we found that it propagates really easily, so there will be more of those around the garden. This year we've had quite a few what Martin calls guest plants, plants just arriving in the garden that we have thoroughly enjoyed, and this is one of them. I was told yesterday it's a type of absinthe, I think. I think I've got that right. Anyway, I need to look up if there's anything medicinal or food-wise from it, but it's an incredibly beautiful plant. Look at this, look how long this bundle of flowers is, and it's really strong. I do hope that it seeds and we get more of these next year. The no-dig potatoes in here work really well. We did need to put a little layer of compost on top of the potatoes before just putting on grass cuttings. A really good yield. There is a photo on Facebook of some of these huge potatoes we got out of there. On this plant we've got quite a few around the garden. This is a milk thistle. We were given these plants in the spring by a neighbour, and not only are they structurally beautiful, almost like a sculpture, they've got that lovely colour to their leaves, and they're edible. You need to cut the spikes off the leaves if you're going to use it in salad, but if you cook them like spinach or cabbage, you don't need to because they soften. You can eat the heads like you do an artichoke. Supposedly, I haven't tried. I have eaten the leaves. I haven't tried the heads. So lovely. Lovely plant. This Burr hardy old variety of pear tree did not survive. But we've got propagated plants and trees that we can put in here instead at the end of next year, probably, to give them time to grow a bit more, or maybe in the spring. As you can see, we've cut down all the long meadow grass, and I always think the garden looks a little naked. It also looks a lot bigger. And we're going to have more flowers, wildflowers, in these patches next year, but I'll talk more about that when we sort it. We realised doing little tiny patches was more difficult to maintain and look after, so I've made a bigger patch here under the cherry tree. And this was a small patch here, so Extended it all the way along the wall there. And I've done another patch here under the plum trees. We do have a few plums. They're not quite ripe, but they're there. And I may actually join these two patches up, and then we can just mow a pathway around them. This patch has been devastated by me because I wanted to give the dahlias a chance to come up, and we have two vines, one there and one there, so I wanted to give them some space to grow a little stronger for the end of the year. Doing something different with this patch next year. You'll have to wait and see what that is, but whatever I do, I'm going to leave this glorious fennel. I absolutely love this plant. I tend to use it in tisanes and teas rather than in cooking. I do occasionally throw some into a sauce or something. But again, it's very structural. It's very sculpture-like, very arty. I have been putting more stones out. These two plants are Cardoons, and I don't know whether they disappear completely in the winter, and I don't want to dig them up in the spring by accident, so I've got their stone there. I'm hoping they grow a lot bigger and stronger next year. We have loads of different types of mint. It's all just coming into flower now, which is wonderful for the bees. There's a lot of other things have gone to seed. This is where the garlic was. Garlic's all harvested and platted and hung up in the storeroom. Just thrown in some radish seeds for the moment. This is either a courgette or a marrow, I don't know, but they're like coming into their own now in the garden, starting to spread around the place and have their beautiful flowers, which you can eat. So still plenty to eat in the garden. This is just never ending, producing leaves. It's a turnip. Very tasty. We've finished this patch, a mixture of bark at the back and little tiny stones at the front, just to have something different, and we will replace these two with something pretty next year, or maybe in the autumn, we'll see. I've found some pieces of metal in the loft, so I'm cleaning them up and they'll all end up in here. This is a type of physalis someone gave us, not an edible kind. Very pretty. Look at this. Jerusalem artichokes are growing really strong. Should look forward to them this year. I will remember not to take any out until after a frost, because they will be sweeter if I do that. And I'll only take out the ones I want. I'll leave them in the ground until I want them. I made a bit of a mistake last year, but they still survived. The garden is definitely looking more forest-like now. The trees we put in are growing. Some plants are having a wonderful time filling in spaces for us. The two bamboos are settling in. This is a giant parsnip that I've just left to see what happens. I do like experimenting, trying things out, having a play in the garden. There are plenty of little onions on the walking onion, so we'll get a few more next year. And then I'll be able to start harvesting those little onions for perhaps making pickled onions or something like that. Glorious colours. This is the first year we planted mallow. And what a wonderful plant this is. You can eat every single part of it. The bees absolutely love it. It obviously really enjoys this patch in the garden. They've grown so tall. We did have to stake them because we've had some very strong winds. We've got the comfrey here. So pretty. And so full of food for the plants. This year we haven't cut it or anything. We've just let it grow. Next year we'll harvest it more during the year and just keep putting it on the ground, especially under the fruit trees. Fantastic food for plants. Not for humans. We've done a little bit more around the pond. And a few more stones here, and we've got more plants in there. We've got a water mint there, and if you look very carefully, I don't know whether you can see them, but there are loads of tiny, tiny baby. They're either pond skaters or water boatmen. Now, last month I said we have some plans for this part of the garden that I would tell you about, but I'm going to make you wait, or this video will be too long. So you have to wait till next month to find out what we're going to do here. Poppies have all gone from here now, but we still have a huge nasturtium, lots of mint, and the pumpkins are growing. There's one here, and there's a big pumpkin hiding underneath there. The raspberries have expressed their gratitude in growing so big. Lots and lots of flowers on them, so we'll have our autumn raspberries. It'll be very tasty. Polytunnel is doing okay. We've had no red tomatoes yet. It's the green ones, but I'm forever hopeful. Luckily, we haven't had the blight on our tomatoes or in our garden. There's a hint of it, not too much. And here are two of the sunflowers, aren't they glorious and so tall? But they are facing away from the sun. They've turned their back on it. They said there just wasn't enough sunshine, so they've turned their backs. We have another sunflower here. Didn't plant it, it just grew by itself. There were a few down by the plum trees as well, from where I fed the birds. Been very busy here, clearing this area, putting down lots of cardboard. We have a couple of climbing plants that are starting to establish themselves, and we'll get some more for this fence. Never know, sometime soon I'll explain what this is all about here. Bamboo's doing really well here. So is the elder. There are so many berries, and elderberries mixed with blackberries make a wonderful, wonderful jam. I'm just hesitating because I wondered if you'd see the bees on this wildflower. Very pretty wildflower. Can't remember the name, sorry. So that's it for this month. And I'll see you at the end of September. Enjoy your garden.